Hi, everyone. One of the most important factors we have to consider in any communication is audience. Our audience affects everything we do as writers, from choosing a topic to the words we use. Because audience is so important, I wanted to spend some time discussing the basics. Whether we're consciously aware of it or not, how we structure communication is based on some important factors that are called the rhetorical situation. We're going to discuss three of those factors very briefly. One factor that influences communication is medium. Communication is structured differently depending on how the message is conveyed. For example, compare the writing in the PowerPoints that are the basis of most of the videos for this course with the course's handouts. There's a great deal more detail in the handouts than in the text that appears on the PowerPoint slides because I know that the PowerPoints will be accompanied by audio explanations. The medium guides decisions in writing. There are three main categories of purpose in nonfiction writing. Expressive writing serves to express how we feel or our opinions. It doesn't necessarily provide readers with information they might need or try to talk them into doing anything. Some narratives are strictly expressive. For example, readers wouldn't need information about what happened the day I graduated from college, but they might learn from or enjoy reading about what I felt that day. Informative writing provides straightforward, objective information. In most cases, including in the papers in this course except for the narrative, it doesn't express how the writer feels about the topic. It also doesn't support a view or try to talk readers into doing something or adopting a particular position. It's just straightforward information. Recipes, textbooks, the handouts for this course, and even this video are examples of informative communication. As Jack Webb said in the old Dragnet TV series, just the facts, man. Persuasive writing takes a position and attempts to talk readers into agreeing with that point of view or even into doing something. Advertisements, campaign speeches, and editorials are all persuasive communication. Now, the final aspect of the rhetorical situation that we're going to discuss and the one we're going to focus on is audience. To whom are we addressing our writing? Is our topic appropriate for this audience? What is the audience's background on the topic? What would this audience need to have explained in order to understand my point? What kind of evidence do our readers respect? Are they likely to hold views that might influence how we write about this topic? And if so, what views are they likely to hold? What kind of language and sentence structure will increase my credibility with this specific audience? Now, the medium for all of the assignments in this course will be the same thing, written papers, right? And except for the narrative, which might be expressive, the purpose for all of the other papers in this course will be informative. But the audience is going to vary depending on the assignment. I'll always tell you who the audience is and discuss anything special you might need to know about the audience on the paper assignment sheets. Every single aspect of communication changes depending on whom we are addressing. The topic we choose to discuss depends on audience. You wouldn't talk to a 5-year-old about the workings of an internal combustion engine, and you wouldn't talk to an adult about why it's bad to pull a puppy's tail. The type of evidence we use depends on what audiences respect. You wouldn't cite a video made by a teenager in a paper written for a college course, but you might in an email sent to a friend. How much and what kind of detail we include depends on audience. You wouldn't tell a high school freshman all the details about how to start an IV drip, but you might tell a new nursing student all of those details. The sentence structure and language depend on audience. You wouldn't write complex sentences to a grade schooler, but you might in a college paper, and you wouldn't use ballet terms without explaining them in a paper written to your composition classmates, but you would in a paper written for people in your ballet class. Now, fortunately, you already know this, whether you know it or not. You do it every single day, and you've done it every day since you were in grade school. Here, I'll prove it to you. Let's say I'm 18 years old. Now, don't laugh. I was 18 years old once, you know. Okay, so I'm 18 years old, and let's say it's Sunday morning and the phone rings. It's my grandmother. Okay, here's how a conversation with my grandmother might go. Good morning, dear. Hi, Grandma. How are you today, sweetheart? Oh, I'm okay. A little tired. Oh, well, you need to get more sleep. So, what did you do last night, little one? Oh, I went out to eat and to a movie with some friends, and then we went over to a girl's house to listen to music. Oh, that's nice, dear. Is your mother home? Okay. The phone rings about an hour later, and this time it's a friend who couldn't go out with the gang the night before. Here's how that conversation might go. So, what'd you guys do last night? Well, first we had a McPuke burger, and then we went to the most god-awful boring movie. But then we went to Elisa's house, and I got so loaded. I don't even know for sure how I got home. I think I actually threw up in someone's lawn. Wow, today I am way hungover. But yeah, we had a good time. Now think about it. What I said in both conversations gave basically the same information. We ate fast food, went to a movie, and went to a friend's house. But the amount of detail I used and the language I used varied a lot because of whom I was talking to. My purpose was to tell both audiences that I had a good time with my friends and that I'm a cool person. I had to change what I said because my audiences would have a different level of interest and because how Grandma defines cool person and how my friend defines cool person would be very different. One of the most important aspects of audience we need to consider is what their background is in the topic of the communication. That consideration will guide how much detail readers need and what language can be used. The number one consideration in any communication is that the audience must be able to understand it. No matter how eloquently we express ideas, if the audience can't understand what we're saying, we're wasting our time because we're really only communicating with ourselves. Let me give you an example. Take a look at this. Okay, it says, social constructionism impacts hermeneutics to such a degree that NCTE held a session at 4Cs regarding multicultural inclusiveness in course materials. You say that doesn't make sense to you? Well, gee, it makes sense to me, and it would make sense to any English professor. Oh, you mean you aren't an English professor? Oh, well, wow. I guess I should have considered my audience and written something that would make sense to my reader, huh? Let's see if this makes more sense to you. It says, what people know to be true is based to some degree on what society accepts to be true. What society accepts as truth influences how people interpret writing. This is so important that the National Council of Teachers of English held a special meeting at the annual writing conference to talk about how it might affect different cultures represented in our classes. Makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. But if I wrote that in a piece addressed to English professors, I would actually lose credibility with my audience because it would look like I don't have a background in teaching writing. Now, learning how to address audience takes practice, and I don't expect perfection. But if you use a lot of language and jargon that the assigned audience wouldn't understand, or if you fail to provide the audience with the background on the topic they need, your initial submission draft grades will really suffer because the paper wouldn't make sense to the people who are supposedly reading it. Well, I hope that's enough information on audience to help you write your initial submission drafts. You know that if you have any questions, all you need to do is email me through Canvas. Thanks so much for studying this presentation. Until we talk again, make sure to take some time to relax and enjoy life.